Test. Okay, welcome everyone and thank you for being here. The purpose of the Meridian Arts Commission is to develop, advance, and nurture all facets of the arts to enhance the quality of life for Meridian residents and its visitors. Today is Thursday, July 10th of 2025. We'll go ahead and take attendance. Lizzie Taylor.
Here.
Bridget King, I am here. Sean Breckenbird. Crystal Paulson.
Here.
Patrick O'Leary. Bobby Catan.
Here.
Siyun Song.
Here.
Jay Smith. Okay, our first order of business is the adoption of the agenda. Is that correct? Okay. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Madam Chair, I so move.
Madam Chair, I second that.
Thank you. Lizzie Taylor moves and Bobby Catan seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Next, we have the approval of minutes, and we're gonna do these two together. We have the approval of draft minutes from the June 2025 Meridian Arts Commission meeting, and the approval of draft minutes from the June 2025 Special Workshop Meridian Arts Commission meeting. Do I have a motion to approve these?
Madam Chair, I so move.
Thank you. Any, go ahead.
Madam Chair, I second that.
Thank you. Lizzie Taylor motions and Bobby seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, new business. This is the Initial Point Gallery 2026 schedule. And it looks like we're gonna turn it over to Sarah for that.
Hello? Okay, there we go. Okay. So we're gonna go over the Initial Point Gallery proposed 2026 schedule. So if you see up on the screen, it should be the score sheet. Thank you guys all for submitting your score sheets. We got them all in. And yeah, it was really fun to go through them. So thank you for taking the time to do that. So a few notes before we go ahead and start, but we ended up not adjusting the scores for the new artists because we were kind of unsure on how to apply that evenly and fairly. But we did make notes on the score sheet of who had shown in the gallery before. We also recommend cutting off the artist that scored lower than an 87, but our one exception with that is Bonnie Peacher. She scored higher than 3 of the artists that we are recommending, but these other artists are new. They haven't shown in the gallery before, and Bonnie has shown many times and applied with all work that has been shown in the gallery before. Then we did have lots of groups apply and lots of them scored very high. So because of the cutoff, it means there are only 2 shows put together from individual applications, which is in February and March. Lisa Flowers Ross is going to be the only solo show that we're recommending. It's going to be during the shortest month, which is in April due to the West Ada School District show. She scored the 3rd highest and is an established artist and has a really large body of work. All the titles are currently suggestions. The ones from the group shows are recommended by the group, but there's a few that we still need help with and brainstorming on. There were also not a ton of 3D artists that applied again, so we did have some suggestions from Lizzie and then some that Cassandra and Jay talked to at the Meridian Fine Arts Festival, but we put them in spots that we thought would be good. We just haven't reached out to them yet, but I can discuss more on that later as well. And then there are also 2 water themed shows, which is okay, but we did reach out to the Boise Camera Club and they said they would work on a new title so they just don't sound the same, but the themes will still remain the same, which is both water. Okay, so this is the proposed draft schedule. The first one we have is February. It is our first individual group show. So all these people applied as individuals and we grouped them together. This is one that we do need help coming up with a title for. This body of work has texture, color, and narrative themes around people, land, animals, and how they interact with each other. Brecken did suggest tactile, human nature, or mixed media as titles for this one, but I'm really excited to see how this one plays out. Okay. The next one we have is the first group show. This group did score the highest out of all the applicants, and they showcased the varied personalities of water. Yeah, so this is our first water show. It's called With Water. And then the other one, we did reach out to them about changing the other name, but this one is still all water themed. The next one we have is the only solo show. This is Lisa Flowers Ross, and then the 3D artist is Clementine Zenner. This one is based on geological features, landscape colors, skies, and plants throughout the western states. She did propose this title, but this one would be really short due to the West Ada School District show, but it would be, yeah, solo in the whole gallery. Then this is the West Ada School District show. This one is the only standing show that we have, so they don't need to apply every year. And then the dates are really dependent on them, so they kind of determine how we schedule around them. But yeah, so that one, you guys know how that works. Okay, and then Bosco is gonna do our first really long show. This one is about 2 months. They're gonna call it The Pursuit of Happiness, and it's gonna be themed and centered around America's 250th anniversary. Okay, then here's our second water-themed show by the Boise Camera Club. This is one of the 3D artists that I think Lizzie, you suggested her. It's Mandy Hennebury. But we thought she would work well with this one. We haven't reached out to her yet, but this one would be happening in August, all water-themed, but they are currently brainstorming new titles for this one. Okay, this is another group application. They're gonna have another longer show through the beginning of September through the end of October. This one showcases a dynamic range of mediums that highlight the diverse approach to the abstract art. And so I'm really excited for this one. It seems like it's gonna be cool, a lot of different mediums and just kind of looking at abstract. So I'm excited for that one. And that one, yeah, is their proposed title, but if you have suggestions, that would be fine too. Okay, and then here is our second individual group show. So all these people applied as individuals. The artists have abstracted nature or taken it out of its original context. That's kind of how we ended up grouping this together. Roland Fletcher is the 3D artist. I think you guys met at the Meridian Fine Arts Festival. And we haven't reached out to him yet, but we thought he would work well in this group. Brecken did have a couple proposed titles for this as well, such as Natural State, Manipulated Landscapes, The Quiet Power of Nature, Moment in Time, and Elemental. So if you have any ideas for that one, we're open to that too, and this one's gonna happen in November. Okay, and then our final one that will take us into 2027, also a pretty long show, is gonna be by the Treasure Valley Artist Alliance. Their theme is Stay Golden. They wanted it to evoke ideas such as golden opportunity, golden age, golden anniversary, things like that. Yeah, so pretty simple title, but that is the final one we have in our schedule, so. Yes, thank you. Am I taking comments or what? Oh, comments.
One quick, am I on? Can you hear me? Okay, just as an FYI, everybody probably knows, but Lisa Flowers Ross is a textile artist. It didn't show that on here, nor is that a criticism, but her work is textile. And I had her at the Meridian Co-op a couple of years ago, and she sold a lot of art. She's very, very prominent, very well known.
Okay, well, I'm very excited about everything that was chosen. These all look fabulous. So thank you for putting that together. And yes, if anybody has title ideas for any of those, please share those. That was great though. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah. I do like the idea that you had mentioned for the current one on the screen of the mixed media, but you had also mentioned like human, animal, landscape or something. So maybe combining those things together for the title, just an idea.
And you guys all give out or we give out some sort of notification for those that did not receive.
Yes, so if you guys approve this today, we're gonna start making calls tomorrow to the people that did get accepted, which in the following weeks will be followed up by like the acceptance forms and such like that. But then we're gonna start emailing the people that didn't get in as soon as we can, so it's not like weird limbo. Not already.
And we do have a nice drafted letter. We had, again, a record-breaking number of applications this year, which we mentioned in the letter, and encourage them to apply again. But yes, we definitely notified them.
So, quick question for you. You had mentioned that there's more groups that have ever done it, and there's that kind of closes the opportunity for individuals in some ways. In the future, do you anticipate having where we leave a certain percentage open for individuals, or is that something that we're considering?
That's a great question year to year. The last few years, we've had more groups apply, and I think a lot of individual artists that might otherwise apply on their own find their own group because I think they have they think they have a little bit of an edge by applying as a group, which it does seem like some of the groups that are kind of already put together do tend to score a bit higher than the individuals.
I would just like to make a very quick point. There is a difference between a group and an entity. An entity is something like Bosco or TVAA or the Boise Camera Club, which tend to be 501c3 nonprofits. And they have to, in applying to show here, because the Initial Point Gallery is an entity of the city of Meridian, they have to show their state registration and all that. So a group like Betty Malorca, Claire, Jennifer, Jill, Joyce, and Tony, that's a group that is not an entity. So bear that in mind.
Just, and so on these letters we send out, do we give feedback, any feedback, or just do we ask that they, eh, or do we give feedback only if they ask? And I say that because I noticed there are some repeat, artists that, apply and almost, they don't really change a lot of their, uh, art that they're submitting. And so if they really want to get in, like, should there, and if they keep applying every year, like, should they be getting some of the feedback that we give them? Because I feel like, the 3 years I've been here, I've seen some artists that are like, they're not showing yet. And so, but they keep bringing the same artwork.
That's a great question. I have found that giving individual feedback to 40 different artists it's pretty time consuming. But a lot of them do reach out. And so individually, if they reach out, we do give them feedback. I did give individual feedback a few years. I found sometimes in giving feedback, not everyone wants feedback. So we do just do the form letter. I think there's a line in the letter that says if you have questions or would like more, right? That's in there? Yeah. So they are welcome to reach out, and then if they want more, then we can give them some of the and that's where your notes and comments sometimes come in really helpful. If there's, some of the images I find a lot of artists, don't crop to the edges or, so there's some helpful some helpful feedback we can often give people. Although I'm also recognizing some people, and I know that they've had feedback before, but they are still submitting similar things. Yes.
I think one thing that we might do to address what Bobby just said was that we make a stipulation that the work needs to have been completed within the last couple of years, because there are some artists that are showing, I won't name any names, but there's one in particular, and I won't say who it is because it doesn't matter, who is still showing work that she was doing in the 90s. So we want newer, so a stipulation that work needs to be completed within the last 2 years. If they want to lie, they'll lie, but most people want to show new work anyway.
And Madam Chair, Commissioners, that is not something that's currently a requirement on the application, but it would be something that we could easily add for future years.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I would like to motion an action to move forward with this selected Initial Point Gallery art that has been chosen or submitted, approved, and curated for next year's for next year.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the 2026 Initial Point Gallery schedule?
Madam Chair, I do believe that was the motion, so it
Okay, okay.
Yes, that, so I motion to move forward and approve this list of artists for 2026 for Initial Point Gallery.
Second.
Okay, do we have all in favor?
I,
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, do we have any old business that we need to attend to? Is that you, Emily?
that was probably my mistake in not taking that off the agenda.
Okay.
Come up.
Right. Thanks for having me. I'm Emily Kane. I'm a deputy city attorney with the city of Meridian, as you know, hopefully. I am here to talk to you about your new bylaws or proposed new bylaws. This is a follow-up to my conversation with you about the updates to Title II, which are the city code provisions related to commissions. So this is a quick overview of how everything kind of works. It's a bit dry, so try to spice it up, and I'm going to talk really fast, but please, please interrupt me if you'd like to.
And I apologize, Madam Chair and Commissioners, this is really strange and I don't know how this happened. So the agenda online does have Emily presenting, but the one that's printed here does not. And I'm very confused why that's happening, but online we have the presentation. So she was planned. This isn't being thrown at you without.
Guys, sorry about that. Okay, yes, well, I am old business, but also new. So Sandra, I'm having a hard time advancing. Not sure. Oh, did you do that? Oh, maybe I did it. Okay. Wow. Let's pull ourselves together. Okay. So the documents that guide this commission and other commissions are found in Idaho Code, City Code, your bylaws, and then parliamentary rules. So we always have to follow the Idaho Code and City Code, and of course your bylaws, but that's less of a legal issue and more of a internal point of order. Same with parliamentary rules. We follow those to the degree that we need to keep our meetings organized, but each commission kind of has its own personality and follows its own set of kind of house rules. The Idaho Code provision that applies to commissions says that cities can appoint boards and commissions as may be deemed necessary or expedient to assist the mayor and council in better carrying out the responsibilities of their offices. So you're helping the city do the job that is delegated to cities by Idaho Code. The Idaho Code also says that city ordinance will establish the responsibilities, duties, and authority of the commission, which is what we've done in Title II. We just talked about that, but to recap, it establishes the purpose of the commission, commission duties and authority, qualifications of the commissioners, and then date, time, and place of the meetings. And that lets us notice the meetings once a year instead of every single time, though we do issue agendas every single time. There are two kinds of notice, meeting notice and agenda notice, but you're covered under city code to just do that once. It's probably something only Cassandra notices, if at all. This is a San Francisco punk band called the Local Bylaws, and that's as spicy as this is going to get, but there they are. They're a great band. I recommend you listen to them, but your bylaws cover officers' elections, responsibilities, your terms, how the agenda is prepared, how meetings are conducted, who prepares the minutes, how subcommittees are established, and then how voting works, like any board, really. This is Henry M. Robert, who wrote Robert's Rules of Order in 1876. He was inspired to do this when a fight broke out at his church meeting. Oh, I'm only changing the, sorry, there's local bylaws. There's Henry Robert. I was just looking at my own computer. Sorry about that. So Mr. Robert was inspired because there was a fight at his church meeting when they were fighting about how the best way to conduct the meeting. So he thought, that's it, I'm writing a book, and he wrote a book, and it's 3 inches wide. So this board in particular doesn't follow every single one, but it is helpful to have. It's just a set of rules about who may speak, how actions are taken, how you state motions, how you amend motions, and how officers are elected. A little history, Meridian Arts Commission last adopted bylaws in 2015. They were ratified in January of 2016. Interestingly, the first resolution of 2016. The proposed draft before you today is the 5th iteration of bylaws, and you're doing this again pursuant to Title II, which says that all commissions need to have bylaws. So quickly looking at the proposed bylaws before you, there were some in your packet. I'm sure you read them line by line, but I did make some changes. I rearranged, we realized that we used an old template. Article 2 no longer addressed membership. So I took those pieces and moved them into meetings. If you did not memorize the draft that was in your packet, you probably won't even notice. But to quickly go from top to bottom, so Article 1 is the purpose of the commission. Article 2 is about officers. We do have a provision that says the sitting vice chair is automatically nominated for the chair position at annual elections. And it talks about what to do if the officers leave the commission. Article 3 is your biggest section in the bylaws. It talks about your meetings. It says staff will send a reminder, talks about a quorum. You all know about that. It sets the order of business that you follow. Says that staff prepares the agenda and the minutes. The chair runs the meeting. The chair decides whether to recognize speakers, and the chair also establishes subcommittees. Finally, it talks about voting is done out loud, which is actually a legal requirement. That's an open meetings issue. Article 4 is about how to amend your bylaws. Article 5 is about when they were adopted. In this case, they will be effective when City Council ratifies them. So that's hopefully coming up. The next steps are that I'd ask you to vote on whether to recommend approval of the proposed bylaws that are before you. Then my office, I will forward a resolution to City Council, and once City Council says looks good, then your new bylaws will be in effect, and you will not even notice because you're already following them. You're already doing what they say. So, any questions? That's my spiel.
Just a quick question. Is this relating to what we talked about, like, I think like 6 months ago or whatever, where we were rewriting everything? Is this part of that rewriting?
This is a follow-up to that. So that was, you're remembering an amendment to Title II, which is all the provisions related to commissions. So City Council did adopt those changes, I believe, in the spring. So everything is new. And this is just you do have bylaws, but in looking at those old bylaws, there's a lot of provisions that referred to the outdated city code, and really we don't need to refer to city code and bylaws at all because it's already covered. Plus it changes and then your bylaws don't and they don't match. So this is really an effort to just kind of clean house, get everything all updated and shiny and new. After 10 years, it really needed a rewrite. So it's a follow-up to that previous boring presentation on Title II.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for Emily? Okay, thank you, Emily. for
Thank you.
Presenting that to us. Okay, do we?
And Madam Chair and Commissioners, the agenda that was printed by the clerk's office, I don't even know how they got a hold of it, was the draft agenda that went to legal and the mayor and the chair for review. So it's not the one that's posted online. I printed the one that's posted online, but it's 11 by 17 for some reason, but I'll hand it out.
Mm.
Okay,
So,
that brings us to. so we
Motion.
need to, motion
Madam-
to,
yes, Madam Chair, Commissioners, I would like to motion to move forward on this proposed Meridian Arts Commission bylaws that's recommended to the City Council. Thank you, Emily, for presenting today.
I second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay. Okay, it looks like that brings us to initial point gallery exhibits with Lizzie Taylor.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, for a pleasant change, I have very, very little to say. I want to thank everybody, however, for participating in the grading process for the many, many applications that we had for Initial Point Gallery and for the effort that Cassandra Schiffler, well, Cassandra, we all know her last name, that you two put together, Cassandra and Sarah put together to assimilate all of these. That was a great deal of work, and I'm glad that everybody participated. I think the proposed schedule for 2026 is excellent. I'm looking forward to having some more exciting titles, but that's kind of just a personal thing. So current exhibit is Bosco, Dusty Chaps, and Cowboy Hats. Upcoming, which Bridget is going to be hosting, it starts on the 5th of August. Upcoming exhibit is Brecken Nikita, who Nikita was going to, but he canceled.
So that, sorry, this is on the, from the old agenda where we had something, but on the new agenda, he's not canceled. He's actually coordinated with Brecken and he's dropping his work off with her so that she can bring it at the install. So we figured it out.
Okay, thank you. So Nikita, who is not canceled, okay. Reba Robinson with is Myths and Morals, opening Tuesday, the 5th of August, and Bridget is hosting. Thank you very much again for participating in the grading for 2026.
Thank you, Lizzie. It looks like next is Cassandra on our concerts on Broadway.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, the first concerts on Broadway is this Saturday. So anyone that's able to attend, would love to have you. And we plan on putting out the boards that we had at the Meridian Fine Arts Festival. So if anyone would like to help with those, Commissioner O'Leary actually said that he could be there, but if we could have a second person to help, it might be like a little bit of a flurry before the concert or during intermission, but I think the rest of the time it would be very quiet, so. Update on the art party and art week. We have a few classes that were submitted for art week by some various instructors, including Sarah with a stop motion film class, some dance classes, music, drumming, little palettes class. So we have some classes that will go through the activity guide.
Is that closed already?
Yeah, to get it in the activity guide, it's deadlines. Were you interested?
I was interested, but I wasn't fully committed. I just had some ideas and I kind of just spaced it. I just thought maybe, yeah, like things that I'm into, maybe a small little paint shop, but I'm okay.
Maybe next year?
For sure, I'll look into it for next year. We'll talk, throughout the year for that.
Okay. Art party planning is underway and I feel like we've been focusing on getting ready for the concert, so, and some of the other things, but art party planning ahead. I think that's it for the events.
Okay, and next is to discuss the public art master plan, public outreach and engagement efforts. Again, that's Cassandra, I believe.
Yeah, so maybe an opportunity, I'll turn it back to the commission. We had almost everybody volunteered for a shift and it was very hot. So thank you everyone that was there. I personally felt like that was a huge success having the boards there. I counted up how many sticky notes we had. We had like 95. So there were at least 95 people that engaged with the boards in some way. Survey result numbers. We are now at 119 completed and a few dozen partial completions. And, Brecken did get it into the Bosco newsletter, which is great. I've asked TVAA to put it in their newsletter. I think Sayun, were you going to ask Mayak about the survey?
Do you have like a QR code or should I just take a picture of the postcard?
Do you want to take a stack of postcards to your meeting?
Oh, yeah,
Next meeting?
that
Okay.
sounds good.
Okay. I'm also going to a chambers meeting tomorrow, so I'll let them know there. The Parks and Rec Commission met last night and they all got a copy of the postcard. Went out in the city newsletter. So I think we've got quite a bit of marketing around the survey. And then there's a few other, Lizzie, thank you very much, has set up a couple at the, do you want to talk about those locations for the,
When do I not want to talk about something? Okay. Cassandra and I will be doing what I am lovingly calling a dog and pony show over at Touchmark, which is a senior, very, very highfalutin, lovely senior living place on Overland. And how I got to them was kind of funny. There was a gentleman who worked there a number of years ago who, by the name of Jim Johnson, and I just thought it would be a good idea to touch base with Touchmark because they are a very arts-oriented community of elderly, rich people. Okay, being judgy there, but I get to. And it turns out that he is no longer there, but a lady by the name of Selena Martinez, is that correct, Cassandra Martinez, I think? Thank you. Okay, just melded with her, had a wonderful conversation saying, I'd love to come over sometime and give a presentation, particularly about Initial Point Gallery. Fine, great, when would you like to do it? And then coincidental to that, Cassandra met Selena at the Fine Arts event, unbeknownst to me. And so now Cassandra and I are going to, on the 4th of August, do a presentation on what the Meridian Arts Commission is all about, the public art survey with all the boards, the postcards, the whole 9 yards. Then I will talk about Initial Point Gallery. It's a wonderful audience. They used to do very expansive and very fancy art shows, but I think COVID kind of got in the way of doing that. But maybe we can get interest on the part of their people to come to Initial Point Gallery. Maybe they would like to host something there in conjunction with the Meridian Arts Commission. So it's a very, very open-ended type of thing, and I'm very happy to do it. And then on the 14th or 13th or 14th of August, again, Cassandra and I, and hopefully Sean, will be doing a presentation specifically about the public art survey at the Meridian Senior Center. And Cassandra has very thankfully volunteered to bring those great big boards. So we have about a 3-hour time over there, probably about 5 minutes when they start lunch. So it'll be a good captive audience. And we'll just talk about art, public art in Meridian and what people want, and hopefully get a whole bunch of survey recommendations. I also suggest that if you have people like your dentist or your dermatologist or your doctor, not to ask them to ask their patients. Don't make this a whole big thing. But like I took 5 or 6 of the cards to my dentist's office and they were more than happy to get them. So someplace, if you have a good personal relationship, you might pass out a few cards. We don't have an unlimited number of cards, so be judicious, but do use them. Thank you.
Thank you, Lizzie. That was a great idea, actually. Take the cards, I wouldn't have thought to do that to like my doctor's office or dentist. That's a great idea. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, moving on, we are now to the public art updates, with Cassandra.
hey, we just kind of touched on the public art master plan because we're sort of in the outreach and engagement sort of phase of the plan and trying to get those surveys. The next thing to be involved in will be the we're planning on doing a workshop in October. No details have been hashed out yet, but you'll find out more when we set some dates and a little bit more of a plan for that. They're reviewing a lot of our documents and processes, and we had meetings with a lot of different city staff and council members. So got some really good feedback, and I have been incredibly pleased with our consultant. She has been she has been very good. So I think we will get a lot of good feedback and things that we can work on in the plan. So that's going well. Traffic boxes. So I just got I haven't been able to look at it yet, but I got a maintenance report back from our guy that cleans all the boxes. There's a couple of them that are missing. Surprise, there was probably an accident or something, and so they got taken off. So we'll rewrap those ones, and then there's some that definitely have some maintenance issues. So I just need to go through the list and see which ones are in the worst condition to get those rewrapped. But all of the West Data students have been now paid for the design, so now we'll work on getting the boxes wrapped. Probably anticipate that happening in the fall. Safe Passages artwork in the Linder Road median is on track. Community Center Public Art, I met with Stephanie Inman, who's doing the plan opportunities review for that, and with the architects. So kind of we do to budget things. I think this is going to have to be MAPS funds to get any of them done. It doesn't look like the community center is already, it's kind of over budget and they're trying to cut various things. So it'll be MAPS funds for those projects. And I'd really like to do some of the porcelain enamel or the steel ones, but I think budget-wise, we're now looking at doing murals, painted murals, and then kind of keeping that in there as a future potential. If we want to do something that's more long-term, we could add like porcelain enamel in those spots where the murals are. But we're looking at getting about half of those projects done like at completion of the community center. So once we get her opportunities review more finalized, I think that's probably a good subcommittee, a time for a subcommittee to sort of look at that a little bit more in depth, make some artist recommendations about how and what those projects are exactly. So not ready for that yet, but probably this winter we'll do a subcommittee. And finally, public art walking tour brochure. I think it was Brecken and Sean were the only ones that were able to come on the walking tour, but I handed them out at our workshop meeting. I don't know if anyone had any other feedback on that. I got some feedback from Lizzie. And a question to you all, would you be interested in leading public art downtown walking tours? Maybe.
No.
What is the commitment, or what is the time commitment and the effort that goes into a tour in downtown?
Good question. So when I did it, I think we were probably, it was a little under an hour maybe. And we sort of started, we didn't walk all the way up to the one that's in the roadway because a lot of people have seen it, but I got a little laminated thing that you can use to talk about that one. And then we walked down kind of by the park and past a lot of the murals downtown and by a couple of traffic boxes. We didn't go out to as far as like the Meridian Cycles one, which is on the walking tour, but again, it's a little farther out. So it's about an hour for the walking tour. Depending on how you lead it. And then you can end at the gallery and kind of talk about the gallery a little bit. So, but the time commitment wise could be, you know, if you wanted to lead one every weekend, like then that's a huge time commitment. If you wanted to, you know, if that's something, it is a project, and I'm probably willing to do like a one-off once a year. But if it's something that we wanted to do more often, commissioners could lead them. My other commission, the Historic Preservation Commission, is doing a monthly historic walking tour, for example. And that's one like lead commissioner and then one that kind of signs up to help be there. So there could be a lead person and a secondary person. So not something you have to figure out right now, but something to think about.
Something to think about, and thanks for answering that. Has there been a lot of interest in the community or folks uh, on public art, on this public art tour. How do we get people to sign up for that? Forget.
Well, it's never been done before, so I haven't heard any, so there's not been any feedback or interest so far.
Okay.
For the historic preservation ones, right now, they usually get anywhere from 2 to 12 people, which has been a very comfortable number. And so it's just no registration required, free to attend, just show up at the front steps of City Hall kind of a thing.
Do we have on our website a place for people to maybe reach out if they wanted to come and tour, meaning like book your tour or I know we don't, I know it's just the beginning, but maybe like putting up once we do come up with a plan, we can post it and say, such and such day we'll have a tour. And that's probably I figured at that point we can market that, but it sounds like we're just trying to figure out a plan on how to go about these tours, right?
Yeah, I think I'd be first interested, like, what commissioners, if people are interested in doing that and would commit before really putting a lot of
Let me see.
marketing into what, because
I
I
would
don't
be
want to give up my
interested
Saturdays.
if my schedule allows, for sure. So
I kind of feel the same way. Right now, my schedule is really busy, so I'm like, I would love to, but I can't. But if it ever freed up, I mean, doing one like once a month or something, that wouldn't be a bad thing. Especially if you kind of, okay, I did tours at BSU too. So I think it's important to know what you're talking about. So I'm sure you probably have it pretty laid out, but I'd hate to do a walking tour and be like, well, I think this is, yeah, so
some training.
anyway.
Okay, well, maybe I'll look at doing a pilot walking tour to see if there's interest in how that goes. Maybe it's just a one-off this year, and then we could think about it as people are interested or commissioners have time.
And real quick question. So if you did it, could it be any time? Could it be like on a Sunday? Or are you looking more like business hours?
I think for these, for example, I keep referring back to the historic preservation ones. It's a Saturday at 10. I think and when I see other walking tours, sometimes there's a business hour one at like 4 on a Tuesday, but most of them are kind of like Saturday mornings is kind of
Thank you.
but if commissioners wanted to do it at a certain time, yeah, could do it.
Okay,
Any other public art questions?
Just one quick addition. Idaho Art Gallery up the street. She's out of town for a couple more days, but I will be placing postcards there. But I've also designed a thing that's a postcard enclosed in plastic. You can see it, you can take a picture of it in case somebody doesn't want to take a postcard, but they just want to take a picture of it. So it's there. So Nellie will be doing that for us probably starting next week. And she will very likely also put it on her website for us.
all right. Thank you for that. If there's no other questions or comments, it looks like our next meeting is set for August 14th, 2026.
I should say 25, sorry.
I'm just reading from this. Thank you. Would anyone motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, this is Bobby. The most I've motioned today. I'd like to motion to to adjourn our meeting today.
I second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Hey.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.